A hushed silence falls over the luxury car showroom. The floor gleams with polished Italian marble, reflecting the soft, ambient lighting that caresses each automotive masterpiece. A woman in a worn cardigan hesitates at the entrance, her reflection a stark contrast to the sleek machines surrounding her. What happens when a world built on appearances confronts someone who sees beyond the surface? Some judgments cost more than money can buy. Before we dive into the story, comment below where in the world you're watching from. Emily Morgan took a deep breath before pushing open the heavy glass door of Prestige Motors. The air inside smelled of leather and wealth, crisp, clean, expensive. Her sensible shoes made little sound on the gleaming floor as she moved deeper into the showroom. The vehicles stood like silent sentinels, each one more impressive than the last. A red Ferrari, a sleek Mercedes, and there, under perfect lighting that made the midnight blue paint shimmer like the ocean at dusk, an Aston Martin DB11. Emily approached it slowly, almost reverently. Her fingers, chapped from the harsh winter and long hours of work, hovered above the perfect finish before lightly tracing the elegant curve of the hood. "Beautiful," she whispered. From across the showroom, Blake Anderson adjusted his custom-tailored suit and exchanged glances with his colleague, Vanessa. Both wore identical expressions of disdain. 10 seconds before she asks if we have anything under 30,000, Vanessa murmured, her diamond bracelet catching the light as she flicked her wrist dismissively. Blake's thin smile never reached his eyes. "I've got this. Can't have her fingerprints all over the merchandise." He approached with the practiced grace of a predator, his Italian leather shoes clicking purposefully against the floor. 3 other customers, all men in expensive suits, paused their conversations to watch. "Excuse me," Blake's voice cut through Emily's reverie. "Can I help you find the exit? We're conducting a private showing today." Emily turned, her dark eyes meeting his. "Actually, I'm interested in this model." Blake's smile tightened. "This particular vehicle starts at $225,000. He emphasized the number, watching for her reaction. "Perhaps I can direct you to our used car division across town." Emily's cheeks flushed slightly, but she stood her ground. "I understand the price. I'd like to test drive it, please." "Ma'am," Blake said with exaggerated patience, "we require proof of financing before test drives on our premium models. It's company policy." His voice carried through the showroom, causing several customers to turn and stare. Vanessa glided over, her stiletto heels clicking rhythmically against the marble floor. "Perhaps you'd like to see our brochures instead," she suggested with false sweetness, handing Emily a glossy catalog. "You can dream about it at home." Emily accepted the brochure with a tight smile. "I see. And is it also company policy to judge customers by their appearance rather than their ability to pay?" "We simply pre-qualify our clients to ensure we're not wasting anyone's time," Blake responded dismissively. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have actual buyers to attend to." He turned away, making a show of approaching an older gentleman examining a Bentley. Emily caught fragments of their conversation, something about custom options and delivery dates. Emily looked down at her worn cardigan and faded jeans. She'd come straight from her community center meeting, not bothering to change. A mistake, clearly. "Don't take it personally," came a kind voice to her left. A younger salesman named Marco offered an apologetic smile. "First weekend, Blake doesn't make his quota in 5 years. He's taking it out on everyone." "Is that supposed to make me feel better?" Emily asked. Marco shrugged. "Just saying, there's a reason for his rudeness." Not a good one, but a reason. I'd still like information about the car, Emily said. Sure, but Marco glanced nervously at Blake, who was watching them with narrowed eyes. Look, I'm new here, and... Marco, Blake called sharply. The phone's ringing. Would you mind doing your job? Marco gave Emily an apologetic look before hurrying away. Blake returned, his smile now completely gone. I believe we're done here. Unless you'd like me to call you a cab. That won't be necessary, Emily said quietly. She tucked the brochure into her bag and turned to leave. As she reached the door, a tall man in an expensive suit entered. The atmosphere in the showroom shifted immediately as Richard Wilson, the dealership manager, rushed forward. Mr. Harrington, what an unexpected pleasure, Richard gushed, shaking the man's hand vigorously. The newcomer, dressed in a tailored suit, smiled warmly. Just checking in on things, Richard. How's business? Excellent, sir. Excellent. We've exceeded quarterly projections by 15%. Emily had moved quietly toward the exit when Mr. Harrington spotted her. Emily, what are you doing here? Every head in the showroom turned. Blake's expression shifted from smug to confused as Emily paused. Hello, Michael, she said with a small smile. I was just looking at the new Aston Martin, but apparently I don't meet the qualification standards. Michael Harrington's expression darkened as he looked from Emily to Blake. Is there a problem with serving my wife? The color drained from Blake's face. Your wife? Yes, Emily Harrington, majority shareholder of Prestige Automotive Group. Michael's voice remained calm, but carried an edge of steel. We own 17 dealerships across the country, including this one. The showroom had gone completely silent. Vanessa was staring open-mouthed, while Richard Wilson looked as though he might faint. There must be some misunderstanding, Blake stammered. Mrs. Harrington didn't identify herself. Should she need to? Michael interrupted. Is that how we train our staff now, Richard? To serve only those who look wealthy enough to deserve respect? Emily placed a gentle hand on her husband's arm. Michael, it's fine. I could have been clearer about my intentions. No, it's not fine, Michael said firmly. Our company values state that every customer deserves exceptional service, regardless of appearance. He turned to Richard. I'd like to see you in your office. Now. As Richard led Michael away, Emily approached Blake, who was visibly sweating. About that test drive, she said quietly. I still have time this afternoon if you're available. Blake fumbled with the keys, his hands shaking. Of course, Mrs. Harrington, right this way. Vanessa rushed forward. Mrs. Harrington, please allow me to bring you some refreshments while the car is prepared. That won't be necessary, Emily replied. And I prefer Ms. Morgan professionally. I kept my name. Blake directed Emily toward the gleaming Aston Martin with trembling hands. His earlier confidence evaporated. The DB11 features a twin-turbocharged V12 engine, he stammered. It produces 630 horsepower. I know, Emily replied calmly. I also know it reaches 60 miles per hour in 3.7 seconds. Blake swallowed hard. Of course. Let me just get the key fob. While Blake disappeared into a back office, Richard emerged from his meeting with Michael, his face ashen. He approached Emily with a forced smile. Mrs. Harrington, Ms. Morgan, please accept my deepest apologies for today's misunderstanding. If there's anything I can do... Actually, there is, Emily interrupted. I'd like Marco to handle my test drive. Marco? Richard's smile faltered. But he's only been with us for 2 months. Blake is our senior sales. Marco, Emily repeated firmly. He was the only person who showed me basic courtesy before knowing who I was. Across the showroom, Marco looked up in surprise. When Richard beckoned him over, he approached cautiously. "Miss Morgan has requested you personally," Richard explained through gritted teeth. "Please ensure she receives our very best service." "Of course," Marco said, his expression a mixture of confusion and gratitude. As they walked toward the demonstration area, whispers followed them. Emily heard Vanessa hiss to another employee, "She doesn't even look like she could afford the tires." Outside, Marco handed Emily the key fob. "Would you like to drive first?" "Yes." "Thank you." Emily slid into the driver's seat, her hands moving confidently over the controls. "Have you driven one before?" Marco asked as he settled into the passenger seat. Emily smiled. "You could say that." The engine came to life with a powerful growl. Emily navigated smoothly out of the lot and onto the main road. Despite her unassuming appearance, she handled the vehicle with expert precision. "You seem very comfortable with high-performance cars," Marco observed after she executed a perfect corner. "I should be," Emily replied. "I designed part of this engine's cooling system." Marco's eyes widened. "You're an engineer?" "Automotive engineer, yes. Before I married Michael, I worked for Aston Martin in their R&D department. That's how we met." "But then why? Why do I dress like this?" Emily accelerated smoothly around a curve. "I've been at the community center all day. We're launching a program to teach automotive skills to at-risk youth." "Hard to do that in designer clothes." Marco nodded slowly. "That's impressive." "It's just work I enjoy," Emily replied, maneuvering the car with effortless skill. "The program starts next month. These kids need practical skills and mentors who believe in them." When they returned to the dealership, a small crowd had gathered. Michael stood waiting, his expression unreadable. Emily parked the car perfectly and stepped out. "It handles beautifully." The adjustments to the suspension made a noticeable difference. Blake rushed forward. "Miss Morgan, if you're interested, I'd be happy to process the paperwork immediately." "I haven't decided yet," Emily said. "I'd like to compare it with the Porsche 911 Turbo." Blake's smile froze. "Of course. Let me prepare that model for you." "Not today," Emily replied. "I'll return next week. Marco will assist me." Michael approached, placing a hand at the small of Emily's back. "Everything satisfactory?" "The call is excellent. The service," she glanced at Blake, "could use some work." "Indeed," Michael said coolly. Richard and I had a productive discussion about customer service standards. Richard nodded vigorously. "We'll be implementing new training immediately. In fact, Miss Morgan, we would be honored if you would consider speaking to our staff about your experience." Emily considered this. "Actually, I have a better idea. I'd like your sales team to volunteer at our community center. 1 day each. They can help mentor the students in our automotive program." Richard paled. "All of them?" "All of them," Emily confirmed, "starting with Blake and Vanessa." Blake stepped forward, his face now flushed with humiliation. "Miss Morgan, I want to apologize for my behavior earlier. It was completely unprofessional and inexcusable." "Yes, it was," Emily agreed, "but you'll have a chance to make it right. The center is in Westside. You know, the neighborhood you probably warn people to avoid." Vanessa approached, her earlier smugness replaced with thinly veiled panic. "I'd be happy to volunteer. I love helping underprivileged youth." "Wonderful," Emily said. "Our students will appreciate learning from professionals who understand luxury vehicles. We'll expect you both next Tuesday at 4 p.m. As they prepared to leave, Marco stepped forward. "Miss Morgan, I'd like to volunteer too. if that's okay. Emily smiled genuinely. We'd be glad to have you. Michael and Emily left the showroom, his hand resting lightly on her back. The moment they were outside, his professional demeanor softened. I didn't expect to find you here today, he said quietly. Everything all right? Emily nodded. Just thought I'd see the production model. The cooling system modifications worked exactly as designed. And instead, you got a masterclass in poor customer service. Michael's jaw tightened. Richard will be implementing changes immediately. It wasn't just Richard. Emily stared through the glass at the showroom, where Blake was now frantically polishing the Aston Martin. This happens everywhere. People see worn jeans and assume they know everything about you. You could dress differently, Michael suggested gently. Not that you should have to, but that defeats the purpose, Emily interrupted. I want to be judged by my knowledge, not my appearance or your last name. They reached Michael's car, a modest BMW, rather than any of the exotic vehicles from his dealerships. Coming home now? He asked, opening her door. I need to stop by the center. We're finalizing the workshop schedule. During the drive, Emily's phone rang. Dr. Patel from the community center. Emily? Sorry to bother you, but we've hit a snag with the equipment. What's wrong? Emily asked, switching to speakerphone. The diagnostic computers we were promised? The company backed out. Said they couldn't justify the donation. Emily sighed. That's our third rejection this month. The program starts in 4 weeks, Dr. Patel continued. Without proper equipment. I'll figure something out, Emily promised, before ending the call. Michael glanced at her. You could just use company resources. You know why I don't want to do that. Pride is expensive, he remarked. It's not pride. These kids need to see that success doesn't always come from handouts or connections. That someone like me, someone who grew up in their neighborhood, can build something through hard work. Michael pulled up outside the community center, a renovated warehouse in a neighborhood of discount stores and check-cashing outlets. Need me to come in? He asked. Emily shook her head. I've got this. Dinner at 7? Michael checked his watch. I can cook, Emily smiled. You mean you can call that Italian place and transfer their food to our plates? It works, doesn't it? He grinned. As Emily exited the car, she spotted Marco pulling into the parking lot. She waited, surprised. Ms. Morgan, he called, hurrying toward her. I hope you don't mind. I wanted to see the center. Maybe get a head start on how I can help. Emily studied him, searching for hidden motives, but finding only genuine interest. Come on in, she said finally. I'll show you what we're building. Inside, the center buzzed with activity. Children attended after-school programs, while teenagers gathered around partially assembled engines. Emily led Marco through the facility, pointing out workstations and introducing him to volunteers. This is where the magic happens, she explained, gesturing toward the automotive workshop. We're teaching practical skills, but also discipline, teamwork, problem-solving. Dr. Patel approached, clipboard in hand. Emily, good news. 3 students already completed their safety certifications. That's fantastic, Emily beamed. She turned to Marco. These kids are brilliant. They just need tools and opportunity. Marco watched a teenager methodically disassemble an engine, his concentration unwavering. I can see that. Unfortunately, Dr. Patel continued, lowering her voice, without those diagnostic computers, we'll figure it out, Emily insisted, though her worry was evident. Later that evening, Michael was setting the table when Emily arrived home. True to prediction, containers from their favorite restaurant sat in the kitchen. How was the center? He asked, kissing her cheek. Good and bad. The kids are incredible. But, she sighed, dropping onto a chair. Without proper equipment, the program won't be effective. Michael poured wine into 2 glasses. What if there's a middle ground? Not a handout, not completely independent. What are you thinking? A matching program. For every dollar the center raises, Prestige matches it. The kids still work for it, but their efforts go twice as far. Emily considered this. That could work. Emily tapped her fork against her plate thoughtfully. The community needs to feel ownership. That's the part I won't compromise on. I understand, Michael said. Your independence has always been your strength. 6 days later, Emily returned to Prestige Motors. This time, she wore the same casual clothes, but walked in with unmistakable confidence. Blake spotted her immediately. His expression a mixture of anxiety and forced professionalism. Miss Morgan, welcome back. His smile stretched too tightly across his face. I've prepared both vehicles for your comparison test drive. Thank you, Emily replied. I hope you're ready for Tuesday. The students are excited to meet someone who sells luxury vehicles. Blake's smile faltered. Yes, about that. I've been reviewing the program materials. I'm not sure what value I can provide these kids. You don't need to teach them engineering, Emily said. They need to see different career paths. Success isn't just about technical skills. It's also about presentation, customer service. Vanessa approached, dressed far more conservatively than before. Ms. Morgan, I've been researching the center. The work you're doing is actually quite impressive. Actually, quite impressive, Emily repeated with a slight smile. You sound surprised. The transformation in their attitudes was palpable. These people who had dismissed her now treated her with deference, not because they respected her accomplishments, but because they feared her position. Marco appeared, genuinely pleased to see her. Miss Morgan, the Porsche is ready whenever you are. As they walked to the vehicle, Marco spoke in a low voice. You should know, Blake's been telling everyone you're only doing this community program for publicity. Emily nodded, unsurprised. What do you think? I think after seeing those kids, Marco hesitated. I think it's real and important. The test drive confirmed what Emily already knew. Both cars were exceptional, but the Aston Martin suited her preferences better. When they returned, Richard was waiting with papers ready. Have you made a decision, Miss Morgan? Yes, I'll take the Aston Martin. Emily paused. On one condition. Richard's smile became fixed. Of course, whatever you need. I want Prestige Motors to donate those diagnostic computers to the community center. The ones that cost exactly what your commission would be on this sale. Richard's face fell. Miss Morgan, that's quite a substantial... Emily turned to Marco. Is there a Porsche dealership nearby? I might reconsider my options. Richard raised his hands in surrender. No need for that. We'd be honored to support your program. Later that evening, Emily sat in Michael's home office, reviewing curriculum for the automotive program. We'll establish a foundation, Michael said, brushing his fingers across Emily's shoulder. For every dollar donated, we'll match double. No handouts, just multiplied effort. 3 months later, Emily stood in the community center's completed automotive workshop. Gleaming diagnostic computers lined one wall. Students in matching coveralls worked confidently on engines. Blake approached awkwardly, his usual polished veneer replaced by genuine humility. These kids know more about engines than half my sales team. That's the point, Emily replied. Talent exists everywhere. Opportunity doesn't. Across the room, Vanessa was actually laughing with a teenage girl, showing her how to use a torque wrench. Marco had become a regular volunteer, now mentoring 3 students interested in sales careers. Dr. Patel joined Emily, beaming with pride. First graduating class next week. 2 already have apprenticeships. That night, Emily parked her Aston Martin in the garage beside Michael's BMW. Unlike at the dealership, here the vehicle was simply transportation, not a status symbol. The car doesn't make the driver, she mused, running her hand along its sleek finish. Just like appearances don't make the person, sometimes the most valuable engines run quietly in overlooked places, their true power revealed only to those wise enough to look beneath the surface.